the copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Broadcast 12. Responding to the Los Angeles Times building. Wide open the pockets of space. That's all. Over to you.
Tonight's case takes us back 26 years, when policemen were walking their beats, when it took an hour or more for police to arrive at the scene of a crime, when horses were considered more dependable than motorized fire engines, when ambulances usually arrived at an accident too late to help the victim. Today, it takes most radio-equipped police cars less than 2 minutes, often less than 60 seconds to answer your call for help, and police give much of the credit for this greater speed to Rio Grande cracked gasoline. No other gasoline in this market, they point out, can start so fast, accelerate so rapidly, develop so much power as Rio Grande cracked. Because Rio Grande is the only refiner in the West licensed to refine gasoline by the patented Sinclair cracking system. This exclusive process breaks up the atoms of gasoline so that the inefficient, lazy, slow-burning units are extracted, leaving only concentrated energy. There's no waste with Rio Grande cracked. For the cracking process ensures that every atom is turned into power, so that you consistently get greater mileage with Rio Grande cracked gasoline. As proof of the superior efficiency and many advantages of Rio Grande cracked, we point out that contracts have been placed for the cities of Los Angeles, Oakland, Berkeley, Modesto, Merced, Lodi, San Diego County, Maricopa County, Arizona, and many, many others, specifying that Rio Grande cracked gasoline exclusively be used in all police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment. So when you get Rio Grande cracked from your neighborhood independent dealer, you can enjoy police car performance at a lower cost per mile. Now it is our pleasure to present Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. Every large American city seems to have some great catastrophe in its history which its citizens never forget. In Chicago, it is the Iroquois Theater fire. In San Francisco, it is the Great Fire which followed the earthquake in 1906. Here in Los Angeles, we have been fortunate in escaping such tremendous calamities. But we do have our own past, a horrible Holocaust which can never be erased from the memories of living men. I refer to the dynamiting of the Los Angeles Times building in 1910. Consistent with my effort to show you citizens how your police force operates, I am presenting tonight the story of this famous case only from the point of view of the commission of the crime and the splendid detective work which finally resulted in the apprehension and conviction of all the criminals involved. In doing so, it is not my purpose nor intent to champion either side of the argument. Tonight, in telling the story of the times, we are interested in facts, not opinions, in police work, not economic propaganda. So, with this brief explanation, I turn to Frederick Lindsley, who will carry on with the story of the Times building.
It is 1 o'clock in the morning of October 1st, 1910. While the city sleeps, a band of men who toil by night and rest by day is working at top speed. From the far corners of the world, another page of history's book has been assembled. The morning paper is going to press. In the composing room on the second floor of the Times building, a line of men, green eye shades clammed to their heads, clatter at the linotype machine. In the engraving room on the sixth floor, mercury lamps throw their ghoulish glare. The dog watch in the city room sleepily eyes the clock, hoping that no big story will break to disturb their somnolent ease until 30 comes for them at 4:30. Seated by their silent telegraph keys, two men stand by in the wire room for last-minute news flashes. In the basement, the huge presses hungrily await the plates for the final edition. Horses and wagons stand ready in the alley to dash away with the ink-wet edition to carriers all over the city that Los Angeles may have her news with her morning coffee. The hands of the clock slowly move on. Activity increases as press time approaches. It is now 1:05, 1:06. In Ink Alley by the press room, another clock ticks ominously, unnoticed by any of the busy workmen in the building. The seconds pass. The clock says 1:07, and then... With a roar that is heard 10 miles, the center of the Times building blows up. The force of the explosion snaps the girders supporting the second and third floors until there were 2 sticks in the hands of Seymour Conera. Down into the gaping hole hurtled the heavy linotype and stereotyping machinery, carrying their operators to a crushing death. The gas main which feeds the building is ripped open and instantly ignited. A searing fountain of flame leaps through the building. Within a moment, the entire structure is ablaze. Workmen clutched in the freezing maws of horror rush to the fire escape to be met by a fiery wall through which escape is an impossibility. The 2 telegraph editors trapped in their rooms slowly burn to death. Compositors and linotype operators horribly maimed, arms torn off and legs broken, lie helpless on the floor as the vicious fire creeps toward them. Their pitiful cries reach the street below, where all the downtown fire apparatus has already arrived, but rescue is an impossibility. No man can enter that seething funeral pyre and live. The reporters and editors on the dark watch in the city room on the 3rd floor are forced to jump to the street. Those who survive the jump are crippled for life. Within a few minutes after the explosion, the last cry of the helpless victims trapped within the building has been smothered in the fevered embrace of the flames. In an astonishingly short time, the entire building is gutted, and then a new danger threatens. As one after the other, the walls, lacking any support, sway, totter, and crash to the street. While a huge crowd of citizens hurled from their beds to the explosion are straining at the hastily rigged guard ropes. All night long, the fire rages, completely ruining the plant of the Times. Yet just a little later than usual the next morning, the Times is delivered to its subscribers, printed at an emergency plant for the battered, bruised, and bandaged survivors of the catastrophe. And early the same morning, Sam Brown, chief of detectives in the district attorney's office, takes over the investigation of the crime on telegraph order from District Attorney John D. Fredericks, who is in Mexico on a vacation. Brown and his force hold a council of war.
Well, you all saw that thing burn last night. You've all investigated as much of the ruins as you could. Anybody got any ideas?
Oh, I'm up in the air about it. It's a mystery to me. There is one lead, though. Or guess, I should say.
What's that?
Well, General Otis, the owner of the Times, has a lot of holdings in Mexico, a big ranch or something.
No, you're wrong on that hunch. That building wasn't blown up on that account. My guess is that it's a labor battle.
Well, you might be right, sir.
Hey, Sam, here's a lovely little clue.
What do you got in that suitcase?
Dynamite. 80% dynamite.
Well, for the love of Mike, keep it out of here.
It's all right now. I disconnected the firing apparatus.
Oh. Where'd you get it?
It was left at Z. Handler's house.
Z. Handler? Who's he?
Secretary of the Merchants and Manufacturers Association. That proves that this is a labor battle. Well, let's see what this thing's made of.
Right, here you are. Packed full of sticks of 80% dynamite. It's a simple mechanism. 2 dry cells produced and the circuit breaker welded to the alarm handle of this clock here.
Let me see that clock. I see. Set for 1 o'clock. It was to go off at the same time as the Times blew up. They must have used the same kind of bomb there.
But whoever did it was trying to save Joe on alarm clock. The spring on this one wasn't strong enough to make the electric connection.
Just a minute, I got it. District Attorney's Office, Sam Brown speaking. Yeah? Well, listen. It's the same kind as we've got here. Yeah. Open it up and disconnect the batteries. That's right. Then bring it in here. Okay. That was a patrolman. He just answered a call from General Otis' home. They found a strange suitcase hidden in the shrubs under the general's window this morning. Whoever blew up the time sure wanted to make a complete job of it.
They sure did.
Let's take a look at this dynamite. Mammoth Powder Company, Marin County, California. Yeah. I sort of expected the plot started in San Francisco. Well, there's dynamite to lead. Boys, get packed up. We're leaving for San Francisco tonight.
Brown, accompanied by a staff of operatives, arrives in San Francisco and sets up headquarters at a downtown hotel. That afternoon, he interviews Mr. Roller, manager of the Mammoth Powder Works across the bay.
And as far as you can remember, all your sales of dynamite during the past 2 months were to legitimate buyers, eh?
Yes, Mr. Brown. I can't recall sales to anyone but my regular customers.
I beg pardon, Mr. Roller.
Yes, Miss Adams?
There was that man who came in a launch with some dynamite. Said he was blasting stumps on his ranch.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. I'd never seen him before, and
Do you remember I remarked on the fact that the launch had new letters on it?
When was this?
Oh, I should say about 6 weeks ago.
What was the man's name?
Oh, let me see. Well, just a minute. I have the order in the file somewhere.
What does this fellow look like, Mr. Roller?
if I remember, he was medium height, had brown eyes, and of course it's so long ago.
Yes, I understand, but can you remember anything else about him?
Let's see. Oh, yes. He cocked his head to one side when he talked to you. Like this.
Here it is, Mr. Roller. The man's name was J.B. Bryce.
J.B. Bryce, eh? Did he give any address?
No, he called for the dynamite in the launch. There was another man with him, seemed to have a cast in his eye. It might have been glass. The two of them loaded the dynamite in the launch and went away.
How much dynamite did they buy?
This invoice shows 5 cases.
You said there was something strange about the name of the launch.
Yes, it seemed as though the original name had been painted over and a new name spelled on it.
What was that name?
It was the Peerless, and the name was spelled in bright new metal letters.
Oh, you mean those aluminum letters that you can buy in hardware stores?
Yes, that was the kind.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fine.
I'm afraid that's not much help.
Well, indeed it is, young lady. You've helped us a great deal.
Brown splits his force and sets one half searching every hardware store in San Francisco in an effort to find the one which has sold aluminum letters spelling the word Peerless. The other half he sends scouring the waterfront for the missing launch. A hardware store is found which had sold the letters to a man who gave his name as J.B. Bryce. And a day later, the launch is discovered at a pier in the Mission District. This launch had been rented to one J.B. Bryce. Brown and his men gather in the hotel room to decide the next step.
Well, one thing is clear. The man we want is J.B. Bryce.
And probably that's not his real name.
Undoubtedly, it's phony, but I'd just as soon arrest him under that name as any other.
There's a great variation in these descriptions, though.
Yes, but they all have one characteristic in common. This man Bryce cocks his head on one side when he talks to you.
Hey, Sam, here's the lead.
Huh?
This cab driver here knows our man Bryce.
You do?
Well, I don't know him, but I carried him in my cab plenty of times.
Where do you live?
I don't know that. I used to take him to Singapore gyms down on the Barbary Coast. He was nuts about music, and there was a violin player down there who used to play him the Tremoroi or something till he fell asleep.
Yeah? What else?
Well, he went around to the dame. Swell looker she was. He called her his dollar movement girl. I never knew her by any other name.
Dollar movement girl, eh?
Yeah.
Anything else you know about him?
No, that's about all.
Well, you'll be around if we want you, won't you?
Sure, my stand's right outside the hotel here.
Good. Well, thanks very much.
Not at all. Glad to help you.
Dollar movement girl, huh? That's a funny thing to call a dame.
Maybe she was, just that.
Maybe. But I got a hunch there's a lead there. Dollar movement girl. I wonder if her name could be Ingersoll.
Ingersoll?
What do you mean?
Well, Ingersoll is the name of a dollar watch, eh?
Ah, come on, Sam. That's too easy. Not solving a crime like a damn novel.
Maybe so, but I've got a hunch I'm right. I want you guys to cover the Mission District for a woman by the name of Ingersoll. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think we're on the right track.
Brown is right. His his men finally discovered an attractive young woman who admits knowing Bryce. Brown questioned her.
Now, Miss Ingersoll, when was the last time you saw Bryce?
Oh, about 3 weeks ago.
You haven't seen him since?
No.
Well, where's he been the past 3 weeks?
Well, he said he had to go to Los Angeles on some business.
What was his business?
I don't know. He never told me.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't ask. He always had plenty of money, and he treated me wonderfully. Bought me a fur coat just a month ago.
Oh, dandy. Where did he live when he was in San Francisco?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, didn't you have his telephone number?
Yeah, I believe I did have it around here somewhere. Let me look in this drawer. Here it is. On this piece of cardboard.
That's the sort of cardboard the laundry's put into men's shirts, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is. He changed his shirt here one night. That's all. And then he left me this number.
The telephone number is that of the Argonaut Hotel. Inquiring, Brown discovers that Bryce had lived there while in San Francisco. There he interviews the room clerk, the bellboys, the bartender, all of whom had known Bryce. From each, he gets a description, discovers intimate facts about Bryce's habits, even to the name of his favorite cocktail. However, his investigation in San Francisco fails to reveal Bryce's present whereabouts, so Brown returns to Los Angeles, where his case against Bryce is found to be so complete that the attorney for the Merchant and Manufacturers Association is able to appear before the grand jury and obtain an indictment for murder in the first degree against one J.B. Bryce, fugitive. Once the identity of the suspect is established, Brown makes the first step toward the apprehension. In one of the rooms of the floor set aside for the Times bombing investigation, Brown has a table several yards long and 6 feet wide. It is covered with papers. Brown is working over it intently when one of his colleagues approaches.
Hey, with the love of Mike, Sam, what are you doing?
Huh?
Setting place cards for a banquet?
No, Bob, I'm trying to describe Bryce.
What do you mean?
Well, when we were in San Francisco, we ran down dozens of people who had seen Bryce. We got a description from him from each one. And almost every description varied.
Well, that doesn't explain this table a block long.
It's simple. I've broken down the descriptions into their elements. See? Over here, each sheet of paper in this section has one person's description of Bryce's eyes. Then comes the description of his hair, and so on. I'm trying to reconstruct Bryce from all these descriptions. When I get through, he'll have the eyes the majority said he had, and his hair will be the color most people thought it was. So on.
Well, I'll be... Say, I never heard of getting a description like that.
Neither did I. I just figured it out as the only way to get an agreement out of all these people's opinions.
Working day and night, Brown finally arrives at the description of the missing Bryce, which is a cross-section of all the descriptions given him by various witnesses in San Francisco. Then he has more than 200,000 circulars printed, reading "Wanted, Dead or Alive," and describing Bryce. These circulars are mailed to every post office in the world, from New York City to the Khyber Pass, from Spitsbergen to Tierra del Fuego. They go to every steamship dock, to every railroad station, and every hotel and saloon in North America. Months pass. Then, one night in a barroom in Chicago...
Hey, Tom. Yes, sir? What's the matter with you, Tom? You think my friend and me are camels? What's the big idea? What's the big idea?
So that I'm sorry if there's something wrong, sir.
Something wrong, I'll say something's wrong. What'd you take that bottle away for? Now, come on and bring it back and fill up these glasses again, you big harp.
Just right away, sir, right away.
Yeah, you see it is right away. Well, the son of a sequel.
What?
Now, look here, Mike. This sign here. Wanted, dead or alive for dynamiting and murder. J.B. Bryce. Height 5 feet 8, weight 140, high cheekbones and sharp features and squinty blue gray eyes and brown hair. Say, can you imagine that? Jim McNamara to a T, even if there isn't a picture here.
How did they get the good description? He blew right after the job, didn't he?
Sure he blew. Say, you know, this Sam Brown's a smart dick. Or else he's a mighty good guesser.
Here you are, sir.
Good. Well, Jim ain't got nothing to worry about, Mike, so long as they ain't got a picture of him. You know, they're looking for a J.B. Bryce. Jim McNamara is safe enough. Hey, what are you nipping for? Come on, now go about your business.
I beg your pardon.
I just wondered if I could get you anything else.
No, you can when you can outside. You come on now.
Very good, sir. Very good. Hey, Eddie, take over for a minute, will you? I'm going to the washroom.
Ah.
Hello, operator. Get me the police department. Yes. Hello. Listen, Sergeant. This is Tom Henry speaking. Yes, don't hear the chap is in the loop. Hey, I got a line on that guy that wanted for bombing in Los Angeles. Yeah. Will I get the reward? Why, sure, it's on the up and up. Okay, you'd better hurry over here right away.
Tipped off by the bartender, Chicago police shadow the garrulous 40 McManagle. When a few days later McManagle boards a train for Detroit, 2 Chicago detectives sit a few seats behind him, and Detroit detectives are on the platform when the train arrives at its destination.
Well, she's on time.
Yeah.
You know these Chicago boys that are shadowing the guy?
Yeah, I worked on the case with Harris. I don't know the other guy.
Say, Frank,
Yeah.
see that guy with the black suitcase waiting at the passenger's exit?
Yeah.
Look closely. Fits the description of that Bryce wanted in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he does.
Come on, let's take him in.
Wait a minute. There comes Harris and his partner coming down the platform. Let's see if the guy they're shadowing knows us all.
All right.
Yeah, he's shaking hands with him. There's Harris and his partner moving in.
Come on, let's go.
In the suitcase of J.B. Bryce, arrested with McManagle, is found material for making 6 clockwork bombs, several revolvers, and a demountable rifle with Maxim silencer. Bryce stoutly maintains his innocence, but McManagle's quick confession to numerous other dynamiting jobs identifies Bryce as James B. McNamara and implicates him in the dynamiting of the Times. McNamara, stoutly protesting his innocence, is extradited to Los Angeles to face trial for murder in the first degree. McNamara maintains a stubborn resistance to his captors, refusing to cooperate with them in any way, refusing even to be fingerprinted. Sam Brown, ever resourceful, has a plan to obtain fingerprints. He calls Priscilla Hitchcock, attractive young operative, into his office.
Did you want to see me, Chief?
Yes, Priscilla. I'm going to make a newspaper woman out of you.
What? You mean you're relieving me?
No, Priscilla, not that.
Oh.
But I want you to go over to the jail and talk to McNamara. Tell him you're a reporter and you want to write a series of interviews about him, from the woman's angle.
Yes, and then what?
Well, that remains to be seen. Report to me when you get back, huh?
For several days, Priscilla visits McNamara daily in his cell. Then, once more, she reports to her chief for further instructions.
How are you and Jim getting along?
I can't say that I like this assignment, Chief, having him paw me.
What do you mean? What does he do?
Well, if you ask me, he's woman crazy. It isn't what he does so much as what I read in his eyes.
Yes, but tell me what he does.
Well, nothing. I talk to him, and when I get up to leave, he always grabs me by the arm.
Yeah. I was figuring on him doing something like that. Where does he grab you?
Just above the elbow. And he looks into my eyes real deep and says, goodbye, cutie. The way he looks at me that I don't like.
Well, don't worry, Priscilla. I think this will be your last visit.
Ooh, what lovely white kid gloves. Are they a present for me?
Well, yes, and no.
Oh.
Just another of my crazy ideas. Put them on, will you?
Oh, Chief, they're lovely. Let me go way above my elbows.
Yeah, that's it. Now, run along and see your friend Jim.
An hour later, Priscilla is back in Brown's office.
Well, how'd it go?
No, the same. Do I have to go back there again?
Did he grab you by the arms and call you cutie?
Yes, and dirtied my nice white gloves.
Let's see. Fine. That's just what I wanted. Now,
What's the razor blade for?
don't move, Priscilla. I'm about to ruin those nice new gloves of yours.
Oh, don't. I can get them clean.
Don't you dare. Wait till I get these sleeves cut off here. There. Now, don't touch them. Look, Priscilla. Did you ever see a prettier set of fingerprints in your life, huh?
As the court convenes for the selection of jurors to try McNamara, Brown begins the first mental third degree in police history. Each day he has several seats reserved in the first row opposite the counsel's table. And each day these seats are unobtrusively occupied by some of the many witnesses he discovered in San Francisco who were known to McNamara. One day a bellboy and a cab driver. The next, the bartender who mixed McNamara's favorite highball. And the tailor who pressed his clothes. And while McNamara, more and more unnerved, watches these silent figures from his past who give no sign of recognizing him, Brown sits facing the bomber, never taking his eyes from his face. Finally, McNamara objects to his counsel.
Your Honor, I want this man Brown removed from the court.
Why?
And he sits and stares at my client. He makes him nervous.
Yes. He's trying to force me into a false confession. Bringing all these witnesses in here. He's trying to intimidate me.
I can see no objection to Mr. Brown's remaining in the courtroom, nor do I understand the defendant's reference to witnesses. We are still impaneling a jury. No witnesses have been introduced as yet.
McNamara's nervous objection to Brown's mental third-degree methods is a fatal mistake. His reference to witnesses against him infers his guilt. Brown does not relent. The following day, McNamara's jaw drops. His eyes widen. Drops of perspiration materialize on his forehead as his dollar movement girl, smartly garbed in the beautiful fur coat he himself had bought her, walks into the courtroom and takes her place in the front row. McNamara cannot take his eyes from her. And then, faintly, from an empty room across the hall where Brown had placed him, the violinist, Ross, plays Träumerei. The sight of his beloved sweetheart, the sound of his favorite song are too much for the nerve-racked McNamara.
Your Honor!
Sit down, you fool. What are you going to do?
Your Honor!
Yes?
Your Honor! I'm guilty. Stop all this waste of time. I can't prove my innocence when even she's against me. I did it, Your Honor. Sentence me now. I dynamited the tie.
In consideration for McNamara's plea of guilty, the court sentenced him to San Quentin for life. Sam Brown's splendid detective work, combined with the operations of Walter Burnsand and his men in the East, brought justice to the entire dynamiting ring, whose operations had destroyed more than $7 million worth of property in all parts of the country. The guilty conspirators paid for their activities with jail sentences from 7 years in the penitentiary to life sentences.
Thank you, Chief Davis. Since the days of the Times bombing, the Los Angeles Police Department has grown tremendously. There are now hundreds of police cars in 24-hour service, all of them powered by Rio Grande cracked gasoline, exactly the same gasoline that you get whenever you drive into a Rio Grande station. Rio Grande furnishes this gasoline year after year because Los Angeles, like the many other cities and counties which specify Rio Grande crack for all emergency cars, has yet to find any gasoline to equal its economy and performance. If you think that all gasolines are pretty much the same, we ask you to make a 10-gallon test of Rio Grande crack and learn the meaning of police car performance. It costs not a cent more to enjoy the quicker start, quicker acceleration, and maximum power of Rio Grande crack. Ask our independent dealers for a free copy of the Calling All Cars News so you can get greater enjoyment from these radio programs. Ask about the Rio Grande Junior Police Department and learn how you can give 14 valuable free gifts to boys and girls of your acquaintance. A complete junior detective outfit at no charge. Sinclair Motor Oils are another example of the extra value you get at no extra cost when you patronize Rio Grande dealers. For these world-famous oils are de-waxed and de-jellied until all impurities and waste matter are removed, leaving concentrated pure oil that is guaranteed to give positive lubrication in any weather at any speed. This is the same oil specified by 150 leading railroads, by leading airplane lines. Yet it costs as little as 25 cents a quart in refinery sealed cans. You will find Sinclair Motor Oils everywhere Rio Grande cracked gasoline is sold.
calling all authorities, sending all authorities. Cancellation broadcast 12. Back to the time, positive now, 7 control, road to first.
Your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Calling all cars. The copyrighted program created for the Rio Grande Oil Company. All cars broadcast 4 minutes. A hold up and murder of 19 Vermont. 2 bandits. Number 1 tried in 23 years. Had black hair, a medium height, wearing a dark suit. Number 2 blonde, medium height, also wearing a dark suit. Men are desperate. Take no chance. That's all. Police departments of the largest cities in the West joined today with the officials of fire departments, sheriff's officers, and other emergency departments in paying tribute to one of their greatest allies in the war on crime, Rio Grande cracked gasoline. For it is this outstanding brand, more than any other, which enables radio police cars to answer your call for help within 2 minutes, which speeds fire engines at breakneck speed through city streets, which saves precious seconds as an ambulance rushes to rescue. In appreciation of the important part Rio Grande cracked gasoline plays in their daily work, police officials open their confidential files so that you, who are also users of Rio Grande cracked gasoline, can hear on Calling All Cars the truth about crime. In appreciation of the improved performance and the outstanding economy afforded by Rio Grande cracked gasoline, officials of a score of cities and counties have again awarded yearly contracts to Rio Grande, specifying cracked gasoline exclusively to power the finest and fastest cars on the roads today. If you who listen to Calling All Cars enjoy this program, we ask that you show your appreciation by driving into your neighborhood independent station and saying, "Give me Rio Grande cracked, the same gasoline the police cars use." Now we present Chief of Detectives H.S. Figger of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Figger.
Speed is an important factor in crime detection. Clues fade rapidly, and unless followed immediately, the criminal may elude justice for some time before he is finally brought in. To follow such clues, police detectives must be painstaking and must have the initiative to follow on their own, quickly and without orders from headquarters, all leads they may discover. I am happy to say that the Police Department of Los Angeles has such men on its staff, and tonight's dramatization of the tracking and capture of Killer Hudson and his companions will show. A measure of the success of these detectives may well be attributed to the help given them by the various citizens who were able to contribute bits of information that acted as signposts to guide them on. If you are, I sincerely hope that you will cooperate with them in bringing to justice the criminals they seek, whether petty thieves or murderers.
A few nights before Christmas, 3 years ago, Alfred Kahn, the proprietor of a malt and bottle supply store on South Vermont Avenue, was preparing to close up shop when a pair of young men walked into the place.
Oh, good evening, boys. Anything I can do for you?
Don't make no noise. You want the dough. Hand it over.
Well, what do you fellas trying to pull?
Yeah, don't you understand English? This is a holdup.
See this gap? We mean business.
Where's that dough?
Sir, I tell you, I haven't any money. The business ain't so good these days. I ain't taking in much.
All right, shut up. There's a cash register, Bob. Go through it. I'll take care of this guy.
Okay.
Now, you'll get back there in the washroom.
Look here, boys. I ain't got no money here. I swear.
Shut up. Get in there and stay there. Listen, you, I ain't joking. You stay in there or I'll blow your head off. How about it, Bob?
I got all the answers.
Okay, let's scram. There's no way to lock that door from the outside.
Help! Police! Robbers! There they are! Stop them!
Knock them out with that gun, but Bob.
You can't steal money from me! Help! Police!
Shut up!
Come on here!
What's that call you? Oh, you.
I'm a deputy marshal.
Oh, well, it's nothing, Officer. Just a little argument. Well, look at all these people watching us. Put up your gun. Look, I'm not armed. Very well, but who's this? Ah, my friend here just met a guy that has a grudge against them. Let him fight it out.
Oh, they can't do that. They'll have to take him in. Hey, look here, you man.
Look out, he's got a knife.
Please, sir, to meddle with me, you sneaking flatfoot.
Well, that's one of them. Look out, Bob. I'm going to bump off the other one.
Okay, let it go. Oh, come on, boys. Let's get out of here quick.
It's a matter of moments, almost seconds, before a police radio car has arrived at the scene of the crime. Detective Lieutenant Frank E. Ryan, on his way home for dinner, seeing the crowd park his car and investigate.
Oh, Ricky, what's trouble? Traffic accident?
Not this time, Frank. It's murder. One man stabbed to death and another shot. A holdup.
Oh, nice mess, isn't it?
I saw the whole thing, officer.
You did?
I heard that young fellow tell the officer to put his gun away and tell him that he wasn't armed. It was murder, all right.
Will you please give this officer over here your name and address?
Oh, yes, I'd be glad
Do you think you could recognize these men if you saw them again?
Oh, I'd recognize that black-haired one anywhere. I'll never
Uh-huh.
forget those terrible eyes of his. He looked like a madman, I tell you.
Well, Frank, here are a couple of clues.
Revolver. Old style Ivor Johnson, huh?
That's right. And this one's even better.
What, billfold? Any identification in it?
Yeah, a receipt for a radio sold to a William Arrington who lives on South Dixon Street.
Fine. I'm going to run that one down right now.
An hour later, Joe Taylor, chief of detectives, holds council of war with Inspector Detectives Davidson and Detectives Joe Filkus and Bill Baggett.
This doesn't look like an amateur's job to me. The fact that these fellows would commit murder rather than submit to arrest shows they couldn't stand a pinch. Now, it's my guess that they've done time somewhere before this. And from what all the witnesses say, they are plenty tough. Now, if you run across them, boys, I don't want you to take any chances. Be ready for trouble. Oh, hello, Frank.
Oh, Steve.
How'd you make out on that South Bixler Street address?
I didn't. The manager of the apartment house says there's never been anyone called Arrington to live there since he took the place over 6 years ago.
That's a bad break. If those birds aren't rounded up tonight, we won't have a chance in 1,000 of finding them.
Maybe the fingerprints from that billfold and gun have made something. I'll call Barlow. Hello, Barlow. Taylor speaking. Get any prints from that billfold or revolver? Yeah. Okay. Goodbye. Prints were too smudged to do any good.
It's like the cards are stacked against us in this deal.
No. Wait a minute. Let me see the receipt for that radio.
Oh, yeah. Here, Chief.
The Great Western Furniture Company. Now, listen, Baggett. Take this receipt and go down there. Find out who that radio was sold to and what address it was delivered to.
Yeah, but that place is probably closed.
Well, there'll be a night watchman around there. Talk to him. Get to the man who sold that radio. We've got to hit this thing tonight.
Oh, stop your banging. Stop it. You can't get in. The store's closed.
Well, open it up. Can't you see this badge?
I beg your pardon, officer. I thought it was somebody wanting to buy a Christmas radio. They pestered me half the night this time of year. Yes, officer, just step inside. I'll shut the door.
Thanks. I'm trying to run down the sale of a radio. Here's the receipt for it. Can you tell me who might have sold that machine?
Well, now, let me see. This number here, 1768, see it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the salesman's number. Let's just look in my book here. Yeah. Here we are, 1768. Is, Harry Dobbs.
Well, can you get him on the phone for me?
Yes, I think I can. Just step back here a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'll switch on this light. Here you are. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3. They're ringing them now.
Hello, Mr. Dobbs. This is Lieutenant Baggett of the Los Angeles Police Force. I'm trying to get a line on the purchaser of a radio sold by you on November 16th. Yeah, I have the receipt here for a Thanasis portable model made out to William Arrington. You do? That's swell. Yeah. Yeah. Wait until I get that written down. Yeah, go ahead. You have the address? Fine. The Worcester Arms? Fine. No, I can't stop to tell you what it's about now. Just read tomorrow morning's paper. In a very few moments, the detectives are interviewing the landlady at Worcester Apartments.
Well, there's nobody but the name of Arrington lives here.
Are you sure of that, ma'am?
Yes, but they may have lived here before. You see, I just took the house over 2 weeks ago.
Well, who was the landlady before you?
Mrs. Rudolph Sprang.
And where does she live?
Well, now, let's see. Oh, yes. She's at the Orange Hill apartment house now.
Orange Hill Apartments. That's fine. Come on, boys. We're going to interview Mrs.
Inspector, there was a Mr. Arrington lived there with his wife. He had a double apartment with Mr. and Mrs. O'Neill. And they
You say they've moved, Mrs. Spang?
Yes, just a few days ago.
Well, can you imagine that?
Arrington was about 25 years of age.
How tall was he?
Oh, I should say about 6 feet, and he had black eyes.
What did O'Neill look like?
Well, I should say he was younger, around 21 or 2. He had light brown hair, and his teeth sort of stuck out.
Would you call him a blonde?
Well, some would have guessed. He was a good deal lighter than Arrington.
But you have no idea where these people went, huh?
No, I haven't. But he took their suitcases and their radio and called a taxi cab and drove away.
Taxi cab? What kind of taxi cab?
Why, let's see,
You've got to remember, Mrs. Spang.
Well, I do remember,
What
Inspector.
kind was it, ma'am?
A green top. Yeah, I'm sure. It was a green top.
That's fine, Mrs. Spang, and thanks a million. Come on, boys, down to the Green Top office.
In a very short time, the driver who called for Arrington and O'Neill and their wives is located and faces the questioning detective.
Now, listen, Blackie. A lot depends on your memory. Within the last week, did you answer a call to the Orange Hill Apartments and take away 2 couples, some suitcases, and a radio?
Let's see. Seems to me I did. Yeah, that was last Thursday, wasn't it?
It might have been.
Sure, I remember that shirt.
Where'd you take them?
Let me look at my book a minute. Yeah, here it is. They went to the Shropshire Apartments on West 6th Street. Oh, yeah, that was where I carried their radio all the way back to apartment 3. And all this guy gives me is a dime. The radio was heavy, too. And then one of the broads asked me to connect it up. The noise.
What did these men look like?
Sort of tough guys. But they could be cut down to size. One of them had black hair, and the other sort of colored, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I guess we do. You remember anything else, Blackie?
No, I guess that's about all.
Okay, Blackie, and thanks.
Not at all, not at all. Never hurts to be on the right side of the fence, if you get what I mean.
Well, boys, let's get started for that 6th Street spot.
Relentlessly following each meager clue, the detectives arrived at the Shropshire Apartments on 6th Street.
Yes, almost 11 o'clock. I suppose this is one of those places where they lock the doors after 10?
I hadn't thought about that. It is.
Oh? We'll have to ring the bell.
No, wait a minute. That might spill the beans. We've got to get in there.
Listen, you fellas wait here.
I'll see if I can get in the back way. Okay.
Ryan lets himself in by the back door of the apartment house and a moment later admits his colleague through the front entrance. They look about for the manager's apartment. Here it is, number 2.
Who is it?
Open up, ma'am. It's police officers.
The police? Well, what's the matter? Well, what's the matter? What's happened? I want to know.
Don't make any noise.
Well, I want to know what's the matter. Now tell me this minute. I want to...
Have to be more quiet.
Well, all right,
We
but
better
can't you
talk
tell me...
inside. Yes, that's a good idea. You stay out here in the hall, Baggett. Let us know if you see anyone that resembles a suspect. Okay. If you don't mind, ma'am, we'll step inside.
But I wasn't expecting visitors. Why, I hardly know what to do.
Don't mind us, ma'am. We're just folk.
Oh, all right. Now, for land's sake, what is the matter?
Well, ma'am, have you a couple of tenants by the name of Arrington and O'Neill? Possibly accompanied by their wives?
Yeah, they're here. Well, what have they done?
Well, there was a nasty shooting and stabbing scrape over on Vermont early this evening, and one man was killed.
And them fellas did it?
Well, we don't know about that, but we want to talk to them. Are they in their apartment now?
Well, I don't think so. I saw them go out about 9 o'clock, all 4 of them, and I ain't heard them come back yet.
Oh, great Scott, Inspector. Do you suppose they've landed on us again? Are you certain they'll be back, ma'am?
Well, I hope so. I'd hate to be beat out of my rent. Wouldn't be so hard for them to sneak out of the back way with their grip. No, I've had it happen before. I'll just take a look in their apartment right now. Now, wait a minute. Let's see. Here's the key, number 3.
We'll go with you, ma'am.
Well, all right.
You can sign up, Baggett? No, all's quiet. Good. Keep your eyes open. We're going back to look at the apartment. Right.
Here we are now. Number 3. Wait, I'll knock first.
On your toes, Frank. I am.
Well, I guess they're not here, all right. Here, wait until I switch on the light. Well, that's better now. Let's see. Well, I guess they'll be back. Look, here's their clothes in the closet, and their radio's still here.
That's fine. Now we'll just wait here, ma'am, until they get back.
Well, what can I do?
You can help most if you just remain quietly in your apartment.
Well, all right. But look here. Don't you go messing up this place.
Don't worry, we won't. No, it's you ask that officer who's at the door to step back here.
Oh, all right.
Looks like these birds are wise to the racket, all right. Jumping around from one place to another every week or two. Hard to move every time they pull a job, huh? What a life. One skip ahead of the law. You'd think they'd learn. Yeah, but they're too stupid. You've got to be stupid to be a crook. I guess you're right there, Frank.
You understand me, Inspector?
Yes, Bill. You wait in the landlady's apartment. Keep watching when you see this bunch come in. Give them plenty of time to get back here. We'll be waiting for them.
Right.
Let's get the lay of this place. Apparently 2 double apartments. I guess that this door here connects with the other half of the establishment. Locked from the other side. Oh, then they might come in from the other apartment, huh? They might. Yeah. Let me get at that lock. I think I can pick it open. Might just as well have something to do while we're waiting.
For an hour and a half, the 2 detectives wait. And then, at midnight, they hear footsteps. Exchanging a meaningful glance, they draw their guns.
Wait a minute. Something's crazy. Stop that man, Bill. You there. Put your hands behind you and turn around. Come on, stand still. Here's a pair of bracelets for you. Shut up. What's this all about? That's what you're going to tell us. Keep your eye on this mug and these gals here, Bill. Come on, Inspector. Let's get the other guy.
There he goes in that taxi with the lights off.
Well, can you imagine that? Well, come on, let's herd the rest of them in.
Did you see him?
No, he made his getaway in a cab.
He didn't go through here. I was watching the door after they came in. Might have seen him.
Yeah, he got out some way. Maybe you wounded him, Inspector, huh?
I'm afraid not. Those shots were fired at the lock that jammed when I tried to get out of the apartment. Not at our departed friend.
Although O'Neill readily admits his identity, he denies all knowledge of or complicity in the murder of the young Deputy Marshal or shooting of Albert Kahn. The next day, Lieutenant Ryan takes O'Neill to the Cedars of Lebanon Hospital to face his victim of the previous night.
You may come in now, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Kahn? How are you today?
I'm pretty weak. But all in all, not so bad.
Oh, sure. You look swell. They say you'll be out of here in no time.
I hope so. Who's this issue? Aha, the robber. So you've caught them. Good business it is, Lieutenant.
This is the man that held you up then, huh?
That's one of them. He tried to kill me. But it was the Black Heaven that shot me.
The guy's screwy. I never seen him before in my life.
You tried to deny it. You little pussy. If I invite his bear.
Mr. Kahn, you must be quiet. You'd better go, Lieutenant.
Very well. Come on, O'Neill.
Ryan returns with O'Neill to Inspector Davidson's office at headquarters.
Well, Inspector, Mr. Kahn just identified O'Neill as one of the two men who robbed and shot him.
Is that correct, O'Neill? I guess I'm hooked, all right.
Yeah. You ready to talk?
Yeah, I guess so.
Send me a stenographer to take a statement.
How much did you get for this job, O'Neill?
$12 was my cut. Bill said he lost all the silver in the fight, and we only had $24 in paper when we got back.
$12 for a human life, huh?
Well, that guy had no right butting in.
Where's things on, O'Neill?
How should I know?
Are you sure you don't know?
If I did, I wouldn't tell you, Dick. You've got me. Aren't you satisfied?
No. Are you? You want to take this rap by yourself?
What difference does it make? Besides, I don't know where Bill's gone. Only I'll bet he gets as far away from Los Angeles as possible.
On $12.
$12 will take some guys a long way.
O'Neill is booked on a charge of suspicion of murder. His wife and Harrington's girlfriend are held 2 days as material witnesses, but when they convince the police that they know nothing about the case, they are released. With only O'Neill in custody, the work of the police is but half finished. Ryan ponders ways and means of arriving at a complete solution of the crime.
Inspector, I'm convinced that this other man, Harrington or Bill or whatever his name is, has a criminal record.
Yes, but how are they going to locate him with nothing more than an eyewitness description?
Well, there is a way. May take years.
What's that?
I'm going to start with the mug book of the hold-up men, and I'm going to ask those witnesses one by one to go through them with me until we find the man we want.
Go to it.
Laboriously, Ryan starts his search. After nearly 2 weeks of consulting witnesses, one of them recognizes a picture that might be Harrington. The suspect is interviewed, but does not match the descriptions of height and weight, and is furthermore by no means a professional criminal. Ryan continues his search of the mug book for a man taller than the first suspect, but resembling him otherwise. On January 23rd, 1931, just a month after the crime, he finds the mug of one William Hudson, whose picture is immediately and unanimously identified by the various witnesses as the murderer. Police bulletins bearing Hudson's alias Errington's picture and fingerprints are broadsided across the country. Finally, on February 7th, word comes that Hudson had been arrested in Salt Lake City on the vagrancy charge several days previous. On direction from Los Angeles, Hudson is held, and Ryan travels north with an Oregon boot, a leg iron weighing 30 pounds, to bring back his man. Hudson doesn't open up to Ryan until they're on the train on the way back. And then Ryan employs some subtle psychology on him. Well, now that we're all settled down, Ryan, I'm warning you there's no use trying to get nothing out of me.
What are you getting at?
I ain't answering no questions, see?
Well, I hadn't intended to ask any.
Well, that's a good thing, because I ain't the blabbing kind, get me? You can't make me talk. I'm tough, and I can take it, see?
Say, you are tough, aren't you? I wouldn't want to get in the jam with you myself.
Yeah, and you'd be right there.
Yeah, I guess there's plenty more like me. Take that little girl that was cashiering in that restaurant in Spring Street that you and O'Neill held up last month. You know, she told me that O'Neill did all the talking, but it was you she was scared of. Said it was the way you kept looking at her.
She's a smart kid. She knows her onions.
Yeah, and that girl in the drugstore out near Westlake Park, you remember her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What'd she say?
Said she had hysterics for an hour after you left. Mm-hmm. Said she'd never seen such a mean-looking man in her life.
Well, when I go into a place, I let them know that I mean business.
Sure you do. I can see that. But this fellow Con, you know, he seemed to have plenty of nerve.
No, he was a fool. He didn't know what a tough guy he was up against. Come near letting him have it.
Yeah, hard man, I think. Smart one, too. You know, I've often wondered how you ever knew we were in that apartment waiting for you that night.
Well, I had a hunch. When I got the door half open, I thought I saw something moving, so I took it on the lam.
Yeah? Where'd you go? Get away in that taxi?
Taxi, nothing. I was up the stairs before you knew what was coming off. I went up to the roof, jumped across to the building next door, watched you fellas look for me, and then come down the fire escape after you'd gotten tired and gone home.
So that's how it was, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess us detectives were pretty dumb that time.
That time? Was there any time when you wasn't dumb?
Well, I can't seem to remember, Hudson, but, you know, it's you that's wearing the Oregon boot, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's just because I slipped up. I shouldn't have come by way of Salt Lake City, where to pick up the bag.
Well, that's one way of explaining it.
Hey, tell me, Ryan, did anyone ever get away with one of those Oregon boots locked on them?
Let me see. Yeah, I believe there was a case 4 or 5 years ago up in Idaho. Fella got away, and they didn't find him until 3 years later.
Well, how did he get the boot off?
He didn't. It was still locked around the skeleton of his leg.
Both of these men were brought before justice to answer for their crimes, which they did in full on October the 2nd, 1931, when they were hanged in Folsom Prison.
Thank you, Commander. Ladies and gentlemen, don't miss the thrilling true case next week. Read about it and the many other cases which are now being broadcast twice each week in the new September issue of the Calling All Cars News. Any Rio Grande dealer will gladly give you a free copy of this unique publication of illustrated crime, movie, and radio news. Boys and girls will find a full page of gifts, which are offered free to all users of Rio Grande cracked gasoline. Every time you purchase gasoline, you help some youngster get a junior detective outfit by merely specifying Rio Grande crack. And you do yourself a favor as well. For no other gasoline on this market can give you greater speed or power. Very few brands can even equal the outstanding performance of Rio Grande Crack. It costs no more to get the only gasoline that gives you police car performance. Rio Grande dealers, all of them independent merchants, unite in recommending Sinclair motor oil to their customers. From practical experience, they have learned the folly of using oils that contain wax and useless petroleum jelly. At last, they have de-waxed, de-jellied oils made by Sinclair, which cost only 25 cents and 30 cents a quart in steel cans. Every Rio Grande dealer urges you to use Sinclair motor oil because you can unqualifiedly guarantee that it will never fail to lubricate your motor correctly.
All cars, translate to broadcast 14. Special charges, broadcast 970. That's all.
Frederick Lindsley bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.